Hey guys, you know something I found out that I didn't realize? You know, the group called the Springfields had the big hit record on Silver Threads and Golden Needles in the United States. Mosquito Davis over here. Your record was the big record in England?
Yeah. And in a lot of the countries over there. And so when they came to town here, they wanted to meet me. And, of course, when I went over there, I wanted to meet them. And we did get to meet each other and had a good, nice time together and everything. Dusty Springfield is still one of my favorites, and she's still doing well, too.
Oh, what about this group you got sitting in front of you here?
Well, they're all right, too. We toured England and went to England and Scotland and everything, too. So, and we
That's right,
loved
it's
this
the Grand
song.
Ladies, right?
And they loved us.
Oh, yeah.
Well, of course, what's not to love?
At that time, there was a lot of me to love.
Can we get your band cranked up and do a little Silver Threads and Golden Needles, everybody?
Yeah. I don't want your lonely mansion with a tear in every room. All I want is the love you promised beneath the halo of the moon. But do you think I should be happy with your money and your name and drown myself in sorrow while you play your cheap game? Silver threads and golden needles cannot mend this heart of mine, and I dare not drown my sorrow in the warm glow of your wine. You can't buy my love with money, for I never was that kind. Silver threads and golden needles cannot mend this heart of mine.
Silk and satin, where love's a passing game. I grew up in checks of gingham, where love's a sacred thing. I know now you never loved me, and I know I was a fool to think your pride would let you live by the golden rule. Silver threads and golden needles cannot mend this heart of mine. I dare not drown my sorrow in the warm glow of your wine. Can't buy my love with money, for I never was that kind. Silver threads and golden needles cannot mend this heart of mine. Silver threads and golden needles cannot mend this heart of mine.
Billy Walker, was it you said you wanted to tell Farron Young stories?
Well, I've got one. Maybe 1,000 of them.
We've all got them. I don't know whether we can tell them or not.
Well, since we were talking about Goldie and Carl, and we were on a tour together, me and Carl Smith and Billy Grammer and Wanda Jackson, and on this tour with Farron. And we were in Ogden, Utah. And, you know, Shelley Snyder that used to manage Farron, they had promoted this date out there. And so there's an old boy by the name of Casanova Jack that used to be in Nashville, and he had moved out to Ogden, and he talked Shelley Snyder into having us to come over and sing one song at his nightclub after the show at the auditorium so he could get the overflow crowd. And so Carl and I were on right before Farron, and we were in this limo being taken over to this club, and Carl says, I know what the good sheriff's going to do. He said he's going to get us over here, and he's going to start a lot of trouble, and he's going to expect us big guys to get him out of it. He said, it's happened too many times. So he said, hey, tell you what let's do. He said, we'll sing our song, and then we'll wait till the sheriff comes in, and then so he'll know that we're there. And then let's me and you catch a cab and go back to the motel because we had to go on to another date. All of us did the next day. So we got in there. We did the show at the auditorium, went over to the club, and we sang our song, and we waited for the whirlwind to arrive.
Fair and young.
Yeah, fair and young. And so he sashayed in there, and of course, you know, he went up to the stage and he starts singing. And so Carl and I, we caught this cab and we went back to the motel. And the next morning we had a checkout time. We was all leaving at the same time. He come down with this great big black eye. He said, "Where in the heck was you guys when I needed y'all last night?"
We're on the Fair and Young stories, are we?
Go.
Me and little Jimmy Dickens and Fair and Young had played Madison, Wisconsin. Now, you all know where that's at because you played that little theater. Or no, it's a big theater, about 15 to 18, 2,000 seater, right downtown. So the promoter, I think Dickens had done his show as well. And we had somebody else on the show. I can't remember who it was. Maybe you'll still remember. But anyway, the promoter come by and said, we found out he didn't have any money. Said he ain't got no money. And Farron said, let's go to your office. You're going to get me some money. You're going to get it. You're going to call the sheriff. You're going to do something because you're going to get our money. So we was walking down the hallway. The promoter's first. Farron was behind him. And little Dickens was behind Farron. And I'm behind little Jim. And the promoter turned around and said, you know, I may not, he didn't get no more out than that. Farron hit him. He knocked him down, and Farron just kept going. And he was pulling his arm backwards and forward like this, and little Jimmy Dickens was on it, saying, "Oh, Lord, Farron! Oh, Lord, Farron! Don't hit him again! Don't hit him again, Farron! Don't hit him again!"
Tater, you want to tell your side of that?
It's the truth.
Boy, you can make them up.
You know it's the truth. You remember we went in there?
I'm just trying to referee a fight. That's all I was trying to do.
He was trying to referee a fight. But we went in there and he got that money. Remember that?
Yeah, praise the Lord. He got the money.
Jim Ed Brown has sung a lot with the ladies over the years, Maxine and Bonnie, and then with Helen Cornelius.
Yeah.
I think we got a lady over here in the corner that you need to sing with today.
But can I walk over that way?
Go right ahead.
All right, y'all just follow. Let me go over here because Maxine and I wrote a song way back yonder in whenever we first started out in this business.
19 what?
And we recorded it on a little label called Faber Records. And we didn't have it out very long until excuse me, I didn't mean to step on your toe. Get it out, it's too big. But we wasn't out very long until there was a couple here in Nashville recorded the song and put it out on record named Goldie Hill and Justin Tubb. And they had a big record of it, and we got a lot of money from them. And I sure was glad. Hey, since you recorded it, would you sing it with me?
You think we ought to rehearse first?
Well, I'm not Carl. Rehearse? What's that?
No, we don't rehearse.
I don't know if
here.
anybody else has rehearsed very much here.
Well, that
but-
gives me an excuse if I make a mistake.
Oh.
We didn't rehearse.
Oh, well, no, we're not supposed to rehearse.
Oh, okay.
This is all, just, pardon? I'm a lot better than Justin, that's right. Pardon? I'm taller, too, yeah. Fellas, in about the key of G, I think it is. I was looking back to see if you were looking back to see if I was looking back to see if you were looking back at me. You were cute as you could be, standing looking back at me, and it was plain to see that I'd enjoy your company. One Sunday afternoon, as I was riding down the street, I met a cute little girl, all dressed up so sweet, and the way that she was stacked, I wish I had a Cadillac. But who'd notice me just a driving this Model T? I was looking back to see if you were looking back to see if I was looking back to see if you were looking back at me. You were cute as you could be, standing looking back at me, and it was plain to see that I'd enjoy your company.
Now listen, baby, it don't matter to me. Even in your Model T, you're as cute as you can be. If you'll take me for a ride, I will sit close by your side, and I will guarantee we'll have fun on Man Alive.
I was looking back to see if you were looking back to see if I was looking back to see if you were looking back at me. You were cute as you could be, standing looking back at me, and it was plain to see that I'd enjoy your company.
I want Jeannie Seeley. You played microphone stand. It's your turn to sing. Talk about soulful singing.
Yeah.
I want Bill Anderson. I want to hear you sing too.
You're kind. Thank you. She's first.
I want to hear him after Jeannie.
Put some soul on us, Seeley.
Ah, you would make me follow Jimmy Dickens. What an unkind thing to do. I don't know, hit me a key there. What'd we do? Can I sleep in? Can I sleep in your arms tonight, mister? It's so cold lying here all alone, and I have no home to hold on you, and I assure you I'll do you no wrong. Don't know why, but the one I love left me lonely and cold and so weak, and I need someone's arms to hold me till I'm strong enough to get back on my feet. Can I sleep in your arms tonight, mister? It's so cold lying here all alone, and I have no home to hold on you. I assure you I'll do you no wrong. Can I sleep in your arms tonight,
The original title of that was the old song about Can I Sleep in Your Barn? Wasn't that the original title?
Can I sleep in your barn tonight?
Well, you can sleep in my barn or my arms just for you.
You're saying you can sleep in their barn, their arms, or whatever.
That was one of the first songs that I learned to sing when I was a little girl, the Prisoner song and Can I Sleep in Your Barn? I was about 5 or whatever, and I always loved that melody. And Tex Ritter told me some stories about that melody. A couple of them I can tell you. One of them, he said, then it was brought from England, and then as people moved west, settling the west, they carried the melody out there as, from this valley they say you are going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those melodies like Thinking Tonight of My Blue Eyes, Wild Side of Life thing.
I was going to call you the other day and see if you wanted to get together and we'd write it again.
Sure.
Let's write a new song.
New words to an old melody. Pass the microphone over there. Jan, you haven't sung one today. We're getting a singing mood here with everybody.
All right. But after those two great ballads, I love ballads. I love ballads.
We're going to
But I
boogie
guess
now,
I won't.
though.
Okay. All right. All right. Kick off Rock Me Back to Widow Walk. Key of E flat, I think. I usually do it in E, but today I'd flatten it if it was in E. You want to kick it off, Mr. Caps? I may have to stand up. Well, I was young when I left you and Daddy. Well, there was a world outside I had to see. Mama, I sure been a lot of places, but a Little Rock still looks the best to me. Rock me back to Little Rock, Mama, rock me. Let me be there in my dreams a while, where the men don't try to take advantage of every woman who smiles. Sing me a little rockabye, baby, just the way you used to do. Mama, this old world outside has hurt me, so rock me back to Little Rock with you. Turn around. Oh, drop that pie. Well, I couldn't wait to get away from Little Rock, for I thought Little Rock was a little square. But if I ever save enough money, I'll swing it right on back and settle there. Rock me back to Little Rock, Mama, rock me. Let me be there in my dreams a while, where the men don't try to take advantage of every woman who smiles. Sing me a little rockabye, baby, just the way you used to do. Mama, this old world outside has hurt me, so rock me back to Little Rock with you. Da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, it's funny, but I was just thinking about it while I was singing there. I don't know why, but 3 songs I've recorded has Little Rock in it. Bad Seed, and this one, and another one. I can't remember which one it was. But have Little Rock in it. I lived there one
There's
time.
been 3 or 4 hit songs about Little Rock. Colin Ray had a Little Rock. Reba McEntire had a totally different Little Rock song.
Yeah.
Then Ferlin had one called Little Rock.
They got a lot of publicity. I don't know if they did. Yeah, right.
Well, Jim Ed Brown's from Arkansas. You can tell us why.
That's right.
Somebody's going to have to write one about Big Rock one of these days.
Leroy, did I see where you put down you were going to do a recitation? I might do that. Get out of here. That's my act.
I have been known to whisper in my life. You know this, dun, dun, dun. Go ahead, do that, and I'll catch up with you. It was battered and scarred. The auctioneer thought it was scarcely worth his while to waste much time on the old violin, but he held it up with a smile. "Want 'em a bid, good folks," he cried. "Who'll start the bidding for me? $1, who'll make it $2, $2 who'll make it $3, $3 once, $3 twice, $3 going for 3. But no. From far back in the room, a gray-haired man came forward and picked up the bow. Then wiping the dust from the old violin and tightening up all the loose strings, he played a melody pure and sweet as an angel sings. As the music played, the auctioneer, with a voice that was quiet and low, said, "Now, Want him a bid for the old violin. Then he held it up with a bow. $1,000, who'll make it two? 2,000, who'll make it three? 3,000 once, 3,000 twice. Going, going, said he. Well, the people all cheered, but some of them cried, we don't understand. What changed its worth? The man smiled and replied, the touch of the master's hand. You know, many a man with life out of tune, battered, torn with sin, is auctioned cheap to a thoughtless crowd, much like the old violin. A bowl of porridge, a glass of wine, a game, and it travels on. He's going once, going twice, going and almost gone. And then the master comes, and the foolish crowd can never quite understand the worth of a soul and the change that's wrought by the touch of the master's hand.
That's beautiful. We should thank Glenn Duncan on the violin or the fiddle over there for a great job, too.
Hey, Bill, that's a sermon in itself, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Leroy.
It really is. Yeah, that's an old poem. That's it's in a lot of poetry books. A lot of people have recorded that. Tex Ritter used to do that song. Yeah.
Ralph Emery recorded it.
Ralph recorded it. Yeah, he did. I
Red Foley
recorded
had
it,
a
too.
wonderful version of it.
We haven't talked about Red Foley today. You worked with him at the Ozark Jubilee. Leroy worked with him. Bobby Lord worked with him. What'd you learn from Red Foley?
Red Foley was one of the great performers of our time, and I learned probably more from Red Foley than anybody else about stage presence and about how to entertain people. He looked clumsy at times, and he stammered a little bit at times, but when he was on the stage, he was in total command of the audience and of what was going on. He never lost his grip on the people out there. The other thing he taught us was to be very frugal, because he was probably the cheapest man I've ever
Hey, Bobby.
He was one.
No, wait, I have to tell you a story. Now,
I got one after that.
we were sitting, he was sitting having breakfast now in a restaurant, and we were going on the road. I had already had breakfast at home because I didn't have any money, and Red was having breakfast down at this little diner, and Grady Martin and the boys were out there and getting the cars all packed and everything. I came in, sat down, and Red said, have a cup of coffee with me. So I had a cup of coffee with him. We sat and we talked about what we were going to do and how we were going to travel today and one thing and another. And I said, Red, I better go out and get my stuff in the car. And he said, hold on a second, you didn't pay for your coffee. At that time, coffee was 5 cents. True story.
You know who's been quiet today? I think the only person in this room that hadn't spoken or sung is Jack Green. Are you mad at the rest of us or what?
I'm really enjoying taking all this in. He's writing a book. I've got me some road stories now.
You've always had some road stories.
Yeah, well, these are stories I can tell on the road now about all y'all. I'm learning a lot today. That's great.
Sing us one.
We got a great song here that Grandpa recorded the song, and wrote it. He wrote it, yeah. Sung it many times on the Opry. And the first time I ever saw Grandpa, I was in the Army, and I was stationed in Colorado, and I got the chance to go to Fort Belvoir, Virginia, to go to the engineer school, and. While I was in Fort Belvoir, Virginia, I got a chance to go to a Saturday night shindig somewhere around Washington, D.C. And that's where I saw Grandpa Jones for the first time. And I was really impressed with him then. And of course, he lives in Goodlettsville, where everything's good, where I live. And he's been a neighbor of mine for years and a wonderful guy. And I ask everybody to join in with us, because everybody knows this song. You've heard him sing it 100 times. The graveside of this soon forgotten man, on this cold November morning, here I stand, fallen leaves that lie scattered on the ground. The birds and flowers that we hear now can't be found. All his friends that he once knew are not around. They are scattered like the leaves upon the ground. Some folks drift along through life and never thrill to the feeling that a soon can until it's too late when they are ready to lie down there beneath the leaves that scattered on the ground. Lord, let my eyes see every need of every man. Make me stop and always lend a helping hand. Then when I'm laid beneath the little grassy mound, there'll be more friends around than leaves upon the ground. Grave, there's no taking any gold. You cannot use it when it's time for hands to fold. When you leave this earth for a better home someday, the only thing you'll take is what you gave away.
One of the greatest things that you do, you combine a gospel song and your train songs, and you do Life's Railway to Heaven. Would you do that for us?
Give me a key of E there. Give me a kickoff. Everybody got his. Life is like a mountain railway with its engineer that's brave. We must make the run successful from the cradle to the grave. Watch the curves, the hills and trestles never fall. Throttle and your eyes on the rail. Everybody, blessed Savior that will guide us till we reach that blissful shore where the angels wait to join us. Thy praise forevermore. Little band now. I'd like to hire all y'all every day. As you roll across the trestle, spanning Jordan's swelling tide, you'll behold depot into which your train will glide. There you meet the superintendent, got the father Blessed Savior, thou wilt guide us till we reach that blissful shore where the angels wait to join us in thy praise forevermore.
That's beautiful.
Hey,
Thank you, man.
I just want to tell everybody while I got you here and the people who watch this video, and there is a God, and my prayers were answered, and I don't know how much more time He got planned for me, but I'll treasure every second of it. And thanks to all you wonderful people who called and stood by Old Box when I needed you the most. God bless you.
We love you. Those interviews that you did with Roxanne Russell on the Opry Backstage show, to this day, that's the most response we've ever gotten to anything that we've done on that show.
Well, thank you very much, man.
You do imitate me, don't you? What do you do in your show in Branson? Because I know you do something on me.
I imitate you every night.
Well, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Po' boy here. You know, I was raised on a little farm down in Georgia, and our land was so poor and so hard and yellow that you had to sit on a sack of fertilizer just to raise an umbrella. My mama used to plow the fields with our old mule Albert, but one day old Albert just laid down and died. And my daddy, who had a bad back, went to town and did what any red-blooded American would do. He bought Mama a set of harness. Mama would pull that old plow, and me and little sister would try to keep it in the furrows. One time Mama stopped, and it was about 110 in the shade. She looked up at the sky and she said, "Albert, you son of a gun, why'd you pick this time of year to die?" And at night, we'd all sit around the table. We didn't have nothing to eat. We just sat around the table. And my daddy would look over at Mama and say, "Mama, sing a song." She'd said, "Sing a song? Hell, I've been out plowing the fields all day. You expect me to sit down and sing country trash all night?" I remember one time that my mama come home in the middle of the afternoon, and my papa kind of sarcastically said, "Home a little early, aren't you?" Little did my late father know that my mama was suffering from the worst case of PMS that any woman ever had. She hit him with everything in sight. Blacked his eyes, broke his nose, knocked all of his teeth out. But then she picked him up in her arms, and she looked at him in that old graceful way and said, "Still, though I broke your jaw, still, you're my paw. I love you still." God bless you, Mama.
It happened just that way, didn't it? You're crazy. What are you laughing at?
Oh, I love that. I just love it.
Well, you love it because he wasn't imitating you.
I know.
Charlie Walker, you have been so quiet back there, and I know you're one of the greatest singers in the world of the old Western swing kinds of songs. I think we need something like that out of you about now.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. Get a microphone down there. We want all the stories we can get.
This has turned into a Grandpa Jones show, and that's the way it should be, because he was dear to all of us. I hunted with him for over 30 years, and in fact, Grandpa and Bud Wendell and Tex Ritter and I started the Grand Ole Opry Duck Hunt in 1968, and we hunted every year up until he finally got to where he'd had a hard time getting in and out of the boat and everything. But One time back in the late 50s, you know, when rock and roll got so big, country music artists like Ernest Tubb that was selling like 200,000 on a single, and I know I wrote one of his songs, I know about what they sold. They dropped off to like 30 or 40,000, and you couldn't give songbooks or record albums away on the road. The people just weren't coming, and some of these folks went through that stage. Well, they had a show in the Midwest someplace, and I don't remember the town, but Grandpa was on the show, and people were coming from every direction, just one of those things that clicked. Somebody run back in Grandpa's dressing room and said, Paul, get your albums, your books, pictures, anything you got to sell. Said, we're having the biggest crowd that we've seen in years. They're just coming from every direction. And Paul said, well, wouldn't you know, the floors is sagging with them at home, and I ain't got a one with me.
Oh, well.
People had quit taking them. I mean, you know, it just got to where you could.
I've got a story I want to tell about Jim Ed Brown in a minute. We want to do it while Jim Ed's here, so he can deny it. Well, we were doing a tour in England and Europe, all over Europe, and we were in England, and we were to play Wembley. And we went to a rehearsal about 10 o'clock in the morning. By the time we got back to the hotel, there was no food, nothing to eat. And we asked around, and Jim Ed and I were starved to death. And somebody said, well, on the second floor, they have some snacks. So Jim Ed and I went up to the second floor, and really it was a bar where people were drinking, but they had a big table there full of cheese and crackers and a little fruit. So I started gathering my plate and putting cheese on there, and I picked up one, and of course I'd smell it before I put it in my plate. I picked up this one, it was Limburger, and I just laid it right back down. Limburger cheese, I don't like that. And Jim Ed we were in the middle of a story, he was talking, and he wasn't paying any attention. He picked that Limburger up and put it on his plate. And I thought, well, some people do like it. So we went over and sat down at our table, and I was eating my cheese, and it was wrapped, had wrappers on it. I unwrapped mine, I took a bite of it. Jim Ed unwrapped his and took a big mouthful of it and went silent. He went totally silent, and he had his mouth full of something that he really didn't want in there. And the first thing he did was blamed it on me. He looked at me and he said, you SOB. And he really didn't know what to do with it. So eventually he spit it out. And I said, well, let's try something here. I took that Limburger and I rubbed it around the back of my cushion where I was sitting, put it all in there. I said, now let's move over here. So Jim Ed and I moved across from there. And people would come and sit down in that chair, and they'd sit there for about 10 seconds, and they'd start going, and move. We watched about 10 people sit in that chair and move until we couldn't take it no more, so finally we left. That's my Jim Ed Brown story. The day he had his mouth full of something.
There's a little more to that.
No, there isn't. That's all there is.
There's a little more to that. Bobby got some more of that stuff and put it in his pocket. And he took it up to my room and put it under the head of my bed, under the mattress. And we were staying there. You weren't going to tell that, were you? We were staying in that hotel for about a week. And let me tell you something. By the time, did it ever get right? Woo! I finally had to move, and I don't know that they ever found out what was causing that smell in that room.
Well, we knew.
That story Bobby told about the cheese brought to mind my remembrances of the early, not the present day, and not the guy we know him now, but the early Johnny Cash tours.
Oh, yes.
And I think all of us here have a story about the early Johnny Cash tours. One of the main ones, if Gordon Terry traveled with him, and if Gordon didn't like the color of his hotel room, he'd go out and buy some Kimtone and paint it. Purple or green or whatever. He'd do a good job, but he just painted it black if he wanted to. And if the manager, they sat up all night and disturbed the other guests, and Johnny always paid for any damage that somebody might cause. But if a manager of a hotel gave him too much trouble, they would go down and buy a bale of hay. Now, you've seen it when it's together, it's not much. But when you undo it, they'd take it in a hotel room and undo this bale of hay, and it would be up chest high all over the room. Then they'd release 500 baby chickens up on top of the hay, close the door, and go downstairs and check out. One time, he went to an alligator farm and bought 500 baby alligators and put them in the swimming pool, and then went and checked out. But the early Johnny Cash days were something to behold.
It was hard for us to get a room at different places.
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, you tell them, you know, you were from Nashville, the Grand Ole Opry. You can't stay here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That happened to me in Frankfurt, Germany. They said, you don't know Johnny Cash, do you?
Okay,
You want to sing us a song?
Yeah, I'm going to
You
do.
better sing.
F chord. Let's do. Pick me up, okay? You were mine for just a while. Now you're putting on the style, and you've never once looked back at your home across the track. You're the gossip of the town, but my heart can still be found where you tossed it on the ground. Pick me up on your way down. Everybody now, here we go. Pick me up on your way down when you're blue and all alone. When their glamour starts to bore you, come on back where you belong. You may be their pride and joy, but they'll find another toy, and they'll take away your crown. Pick me up on your way down.
Everybody dance.
They have changed your attitude, made you haughty and so rude. Your new friends can take the blame. Underneath you're still the same. When you learn these things are true, I'll be waiting here for you as you tumble to the ground. Pick me up on your way down. Pick me up on your way down when you're blue and all alone. When their glamour starts to bore you, come on back where you belong. You may be their pride and joy, but they'll find another toy,